BOYSCAST. The boys, the fellas, the lads, the bros, the dudes, the homies, the mates, the blokes, the boys. Cast is the show. The dogs, the bunts, the bruvs, amigos.
BOYSCAST, Patreon, Patreon, BOYSCAST, Patreon. So we didn't talk about this on the topic of planes, but we had a bigger problem than even, what's his name that noticed people weren't
The
wearing
Wright
masks.
brothers.
Than the Wright brothers. Me and Danny went trying to go to St. Louis. We waited fucking 12 hours. 12 full fucking hours. Mark Norman and Ari Shafir were at the terminal doing the same thing. We're there for 12 hours. We get sent home, and they basically go, you got a flight at 6 a.m. So the airlines are really having lots of problems.
Dude, the day we left, I read about it after the fact in the New York Post. They canceled 1/3 of the flights out of LaGuardia that day.
Yeah, and they're having a lot of problems, and apparently it's some of it's pilot related.
Yeah, pilot shortage / and then that one was pilot shortage and weather.
It was a fucking nightmare. And then our thing got blocked on the way home. So, but I don't know exactly what the huge issue is, but do you know?
With what?
Well, apparently a lot of employees want to walk. Like, I don't know. What's the issue?
For us, the issue that they were saying was that there was a crazy weather system.
That's a lie.
In the Northeast. No, I saw something where they were like,
say weather.
They do always say weather.
Whether or not they want to fucking work.
Yeah, whether or not they want to fucking give you a refund. But they were saying weather, and there were some like crazy weather systems in the East. Like I was actually talking to my dad, and he was saying at their place there was like some kind of like wild weather. But I guess what happens is then they're canceling the flights, and then it just like, they just get so backed up that they're just like, we have to cancel everything. The shady fucking move is you're like, that these flights are going to be canceled at the end of the day. We're not going to get out of here. You should be like, hey, there's a 5% chance that you're going to be leaving today.
Yeah.
Do you want to wait at the airport all day?
Exactly.
Instead of just being like dicking you around all fucking day, you're there from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then at 7 p.m. they go, hey, it looks like...
Add up all those people and all the things they had to do. It's like the amount of like money, wealth that they've like stolen from all these people, essentially.
And like if they told you that, if they're honest, being like, hey, this is the percentage chance, we could have booked another flight on a different airline. Or we could have made an alternate arrangement for the next day, but they dick you around so late that... Eventually you go, and
then you get on the flight and the girl doesn't have a mask on.
Fucking
piece of shit. It's very scummy business model.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of things to get mad at airports for, but to believe you me, my friend. So this is the one where the female teacher got fired, and it was a pretty good one. So the Daily Mail wrote about it, but so did other people. An art teacher was fired for doing a project where she gets the girls at her art school to show the titties.
And
she goes, it was art. Female teacher 41 sacked for letting girls pose topless and other pupils simulate masturbation. Defends photo project and says she's a victim of deep injustice.
Yeah. I mean, art is a weird one because I had this same thought when I was, I can't remember where I was. It was one art gallery in like France or Italy or something. And you're walking around and there's just like naked children. Like paintings of them, and you go like, this is kind of like fucking.
But you understand, there's a big difference between paintings of them and the actual like.
Well, but I'm saying they made this naked child pose for a fucking thing,
right?
And then they go, okay, well then,
recently?
And then no, but I'm saying, but like this same teacher, it would be okay for this teacher to be like, let's go to this art gallery.
So art's then this teacher,
to begin with. Right, and then this teacher's like, well, if that's fine. And you go, yeah, don't have your fucking teachers or your 15-year-old students posing nude at school.
It's so obvious. This one actually doesn't seem necessarily like the girl's a pedophile. It's just like, what are you
No, she's
doing?
trying to be like the cool teacher, and then her students were like, what if we're naked? And she's like, that's cool.
That'd be fucking cool.
But the problem was she's like,
the problem was they didn't let the fucking guy students come and watch.
Yeah.
That's where it fell apart. You probably wouldn't have had a problem if you just let the guys watch. But she's trying to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to have these 14-year-old girls pose naked for me, and none of the boys are going to get to see it. What the fuck is that shit?
Yeah, it's discrimination is what it is.
Well, she says the teaching regulation rule. Can you imagine? Yeah, like, I guess, I'm not sure. Do male teachers come in the change room with you?
I mean, for me, yeah. When I was a student, I did.
That's not normal, right?
For the male for what?
I guess when you're changing when you're a kid, like dads are in the thing.
Yeah,
But it's someone else's dad seeing people naked, I guess.
for sure it is. But I don't remember. I don't recall.
Teaching's a little different, but
Yeah. Also, it's just like it's 2022. You have to kind of see that maybe not the best idea.
well, she was very like in her mind, it was almost like a feminism thing where she's like, she
Stop
can't
policing our bodies. All that.
I think it was some
nonsense.
sort of that thing, I think that infects them where they just think no matter what they do, they're in the right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she said she had pupils holding cigarettes and alcohol, which are safeguarding rules. So basically, it would be way better if it was a teacher of guys. You know what I mean? If the art teacher had the dudes posing naked, and then she came and stroked them a little bit, they probably
Maybe.
wouldn't have snitched.
Yeah.
But these girls, you don't want to mess with the women.
There'd still be these problems.
She goes, I felt that there was a deep injustice about what happened, but I'm not going to appeal because I no longer wish to teach. She says, if I can't...
I don't want to teach you goddamn squares anymore.
Yeah, she goes, if I can't see all the 14-year-old girls naked, that's not a classroom that I want to be part of, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch me at my new job at the church.
Teaching's a fucking mind
Church
field
art
right
teacher.
now.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I don't know. I took art class when I was 13. I don't recall any teachers being like, hey, does any student want to pose nude?
Yeah, I want to get that dick out. Yeah, so we finished there.
If I recall correctly, in my art class, we made a candy jar.
No. Yeah, you made a John Candy jar.
No, actually, you know what I actually made is I made this piece of shit clay candy jar, but then the head of it, because I was loved South Park, and then
Looked
the
like
head,
your head.
was Cartman's head. That was pretty sick.
There you go. That's some fucking good shit.
Yeah, it was
Well, my teacher never did this either, where they say, yeah, now we're going to do a little painting. Why don't you paint me, baby? Yeah, get them tickle
paint me
bitties.
like your whores.
I give it a big old titties out, but I go, but I'm a man. And she goes, well, then get the fuck out of my classroom. Bring those titties in because I don't like to fuck with that dick shit. I don't fuck around with none of that dick ass shit, man. You give me some fucking two big old tiggies, tickle bitties. That's why I'm get the brushes out, me and you just have a
Get them
time.
brushes.
Yeah, it's talk about B plus. I'm about to give you a double D plus, if you know what I'm saying.
You lost me. I'm not gonna lie.
That we're talking about cup sizes.
Cup size. I got you.
Mhm. So she goes, yeah, you want a fucking A? Yeah, I'll tell you what, you're going to get a A if you show me those D's, you know what I'm saying? Those double D's, yeah, get those out. Your teachers be painting. Let me put some music on.
She is too. She's like, she really doesn't get it too because she's like purple hair. Like,
She's got the whole deal.
she's the cool art teacher.
She's like, how is this wrong?
Yeah, she's one of the teachers. She goes, these kids, they'll graduate, they'll go to college, but they'll never forget.
They'll
me.
never forget
How cool I was.
how cool I was when I painted them titties. Y'all know what I'm saying. Every time you go to Times Square, there's girls with their titties painted, eh?
Yeah, that's
Instead of a shirt.
Yeah,
Very
but they're
common.
like, they're not busking? Are they busking?
No, they're like promoting something.
Oh, they're promoting.
They're almost like dressed like Caravana, but it has to do with feminism.
Gotcha.
They got their titties.
I've been really liking.
Some of them have patches over the nipples, though, and they try to make you think that they just have their titties
Oh.
painted, but they have a little patch over the nipples. So
That was like the girls who were protesting.
Tricking you.
All the protesters had the painted titties. I do like the women who are protesting the abortion, and they wear the white pants with the fucking red blood all over the vaginas.
oh, that's a good look. Yeah. Come in, walking into school.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's a
That
really funny thing,
red-ass
by the way?
blood.
I was talking about the NFT New York thing, and then someone goes, so the NFT New York thing, they hired a fake Snoop Dogg impersonator to just kind of get people jazzed up for the NFT New York, and his name was Dupe Snog. And he literally had a lanyard, and it said on it Dupe Snog, and people were like, holy shit, that's Snoop Dogg. Like they thought Snoop Dogg came to NFT.
Snog.
No, I think he's kind of making people think that it is.
Do you know the
Snoop Dogg.
fake Drake, Frake?
Yeah.
Well, Frake apparently has been like tricking people right and left, and I think Drake's actually getting mad about it.
Oh,
There's
really?
this guy that looks like Drake, and his name's Frake.
There's a lot, dude. It's crazy that you can make like a temporary profession out of looking
like a guy.
There was fake Klay Thompson. So Klay Thompson, who plays for the Golden State Warriors, and then this guy who like kind of looks like him but is like fat, and you're like, this guy doesn't have the body of an NBA superstar. And then he somehow got his way into the Oracle Center and was like putting shots up, like he was just like shooting around.
Okay.
And then they banned him for life, and it was like this big story, fake Klay Thompson. And then Klay Thompson invited him to their
He liked him
to their party when they won the NBA championship last week.
Roy Orbison had that in Blue Bloods, where he had a guy that was being a fake.
Roy
him.
Orbison?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Margaritaville.
That's not Roy Orbison.
Who's Margaritaville?
Is that Roy Orbison? I thought that was
He's
Buffett.
Well, that's who it was, Buffett. Jimmy Buffett. And he had a Jimmy Buffett impersonator. And then the real fucking Jimmy Buffett. It was a very weird episode.
That's fucking...
Well, anyways, this teacher would have loved that. Like, let me paint some period blood on there, little girl. Come on, girl. The teacher added, I'm hoping the local communities are as shocked as I am. Probably in a different way.
Yeah. They are equally shocked, but not in the injustice of you getting fired. They're not shocked with that.
This girl's living in a fucking different world, eh? To say that, like, I'm sure that all the parents are, come on, parents, rally behind me. Everyone's like, why are you, so you're looking at all our daughters naked. It's something strange about this. It's stranger if she's a lesbian. If she's not a lesbian, I guess it's even less, if it's less strange.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like...
That's like a guy, if you have a male teacher that's like was in the change rooms, but he's like a super straight dude, it's like something way less gay. But if you have a teacher that is in all the change rooms all the time, then you find out he's like really gay, you're just like, okay, so now we knew what you were doing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, again, just have some common sense about having teenagers.
Yeah, same with like gay guy with the girls. It's less pervy, obviously. But still, I don't think people would like if gay guy was painting the girls naked. How does it even get to that point? That's
well, it sounds
these
like
people have a lot of balls.
It sounds like with it, the teacher gave some kind of direction, and then the kids came back doing topless shit with all the stuff, and then she's like, "That's cool." Instead of being like, "What are you doing?"
That's what. Well, she said she told the pupils she didn't expect them to be naked, but
I ain't hating it either. No, hey, you know what I mean. I didn't expect it, but fuck.
She also stated that art is a process.
Art is a process.
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't need you to necessarily be naked, but you know what I'm saying. Let's just say the pound don't need to have puppies. But I don't like much going to the pound when it don't.
No. What are you doing there at that point?
When I go to the dog race, they don't necessarily need to have puppies, but let's just say between me and you, I'd prefer that there's a few pups.
Couple pups racing.
So those are,
well,
so that girl got it.
Best of luck in your new profession, lady.
There was, okay, so this is an interesting one that Gerard Carmichael's been doing the rounds, right?
Yeah, after his fucking nobody gave a shit about his new special.
Nobody gave that much of a shit about his new I'm gay special, right?
Yeah. He thought that was going to be fucking revolutionary to be like, hey, I'm in entertainment and I'm gay now. Has anybody done that?
He thought that
Has that
was
been done?
Be real hot.
Yeah, he thought that was gonna be a big deal.
A little about me. I'm gay.
So I'm gay. We had an idea.
Yeah, you go. Everyone's gay. I actually didn't really have an idea with him, but he was.
No, I didn't know. I didn't think he was gay.
He was. Paul used to always tell me he's like his favorite comic, and he was so funny. And he was one of the ones where I was like. He kind of came on the scene like real hot, real young, and everyone was like, "This guy's so sick." And I never really got it. I thought I kind of thought it was this new thing where people just talk really slow. You know what I mean? I thought it was this like new internet.
I mean, I just chalk
get.
It up as it's not for me, and it's fine if people like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for them. It's like it's not for me.
That's kind of how I chalked it up. But basically, Gerard Carmichael.
It didn't offend me like the Hannah Gadsby. Where
No, it didn't
like, this is the funniest. Me. Well, no, whereas like this is the funniest thing that's ever been made, and this is the new paradigm of comedy. And
and I'm sure I don't know him personally, but whatever.
I mean, he had his show, and people seem to like that.
But he does have his crew, so he's his like best friend's the guy that made the no audience special and so he has his crew's kind of like doing comedy in a new way where they have these really long
people don't laugh. It's new comedy. It's the new school. They're all into that art bullshit because art always has it's the new school.
It's artsy fartsy.
We do everything
comedy.
in a different way.
That's the best way to describe it. Is it's artsy fartsy comedy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're kind of doing artsy fartsy art, right? So they were the type of comic that someone might have their tits out of the 14-year-old girls,
Yeah.
But so he basically Gerard Carmichael on Dave Chappelle's anti-trans comedy and cancel culture. He goes, it's an odd hill to die on. So the interesting part was, so he's going on his press tour, and this kind of says that it's the same thing that I was sort of saying about Bo Burnham a bit, where it's like, I think a lot of these people don't know where that they stand in this stuff. They just want it to kind of stop because they're like, canceling's over, and I'm not really sure. I'm not going to be a canceling guy, but it's like it kind of takes up all the space of conversation. So I just want people to shut up and so we can talk about my identity in peace. You know what I mean?
I don't think he was forced to bring up Dave Chappelle.
No, that's what I mean. I think he's out there, sort of what you said too, trying to get a little buzz off of talking shit about Chappelle.
Yeah. Also,
right?
he goes, if you Google Dave Chappelle, it all comes up. And I'm like, I actually Googled Dave Chappelle, and none of that comes up.
Well, it's very interesting because there's a few things that he said. He goes, Chappelle, do you know what comes up when you Google your name, bro? That's the legacy. Your legacy is a bunch of opinions on trans shit. And he's kind of going in, but it was like, I mean,
his legacy is the Chappelle show before.
His legacy, if you talk about Chappelle anywhere other than what the circles that like some Hollywood, like guy is in, it's like people just mostly think he's like the biggest comedian of all time and the best.
Yeah. I mean, you're just like, it's so crazy for you to be in the industry and be so wrong.
It's crazy.
You know? Like even I would say like with Hannah Gadsby, I'm like, yeah, I don't like it, but I'm not deluded to think like nobody likes her and that she's like irrelevant.
But her legacy is not the best comedian ever. Like
fuck no.
Chappelle, your average person thinks like, oh, Chappelle's the biggest comedian of all time.
Yeah.
Or at least top 3 or whatever, right?
And he is.
Yeah, but he's not. So that's why it's so funny because Gerard Carmichael's saying that it's like, he's on like everyone's top 10 list ever. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's his legacy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, but then on top of that, he goes, so that was the first part that was like interesting to me. He goes, that's your legacy. It's like, according to everyone, he thinks he's the best. He's not really my favorite personally, but I'm just saying, so I'm not, neither of these people are my favorite. So I'm just sort of an objective observer here. But he goes, look, I get it. Everybody's got to create a boogeyman to sell tickets, but it's not true. Carmichael said of the threat of cancel culture, who's getting canceled for what they've said? What is that for what they've said? What does that mean? That people are mad on Twitter? Everybody's fine. These are grown men. These are, it's fine. So that's their new take, which is kind of
there's no cancel. There is no
cancel culture doesn't exist. No one's getting canceled. And there's sort of this version of like, it's the gaslighting to be like and this is what I was trying to say that I'm saying is it's the industry did all this stuff. It works. It had the opposite effect where everyone left the industry and then counterculture and like all of the biggest comedians aren't in the industry right now. So then they essentially, the people they canceled willed a new career that they can't take away.
Yeah,
like, let's say Shane Gillis.
Decentralized career.
Yeah, they go, cancel culture is, cancel culture doesn't exist. Like, well, it did exist for Shane Gillis, but because you did it to so many people, they all went and started this new thing, which has now become more powerful in comedy.
For sure. I mean, more importantly, it's just like there was this mainstream industry and then they turned their backs on 50% of their audience. They go, hey, like all the stuff you've liked forever, we're no longer providing for you, which is probably a lot of people who listen to this are like, yeah, we used to love all that shit. And then they just stopped programming for us.
No, there became it. So
and not only stopped programming for us, they were like, the programming that they were doing was calling us bad. Yeah. And they're just like, okay, I don't really want to watch this anymore.
You're right. So it's two things at once. Cancel culture did exist, but you canceled so many and in sync with the industry making bad stuff that people like Joe Rogan, it started to be this ecosystem of where you go once you're canceled. And then now they're kind of like, oh, look, you're fine. It was like, yeah, because you like, it's like a company being like firing you for something and then you go start your own company. It's like, things worked out for you. It's like, doesn't mean the thing didn't happen.
Yeah, of course.
Like
just because I managed to not fucking wither away and die, it doesn't mean like, it doesn't mean that.
Right.
I mean, obviously there is such a thing as cancel culture. Obviously, some people make it out to be more than it is, and some people minimize it more.
But it is a little bit less now because the truth is some people figured out how to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people figured out how to. The same reason why I think that's happening with the groomer stuff. When people first started calling everyone racist, everyone goes like. Everyone would be like, no, my friends are racist. I'm actually like, everyone would defend themselves. And then now it's kind of lost its value.
Yeah.
I think groomer is like, I think people's instinct are to be like, I'm not a pedophile, like defending that you're not a pedophile. Yeah. And then eventually people are going to be like, yeah, I don't need to explain to you that I'm not a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like, I don't care. I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah. Unless they are a pedophile. But that you can make the same reason the other way around where you go, yeah, also it's not no one's racist.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? But so I think it was, but on top of that, when he goes, it's a boogeyman, it was like, Yes, but like your boogeyman is homophobia. Like you're like, okay, but a lot of their boogeymans, like Dave Chappelle, he creates this boogeyman of people trying to cancel him. It's like there's literal like half of Netflix was outside protesting in real life.
For sure. There was like real life protests.
He lost like jobs or whatever. Like remember they wouldn't make his documentary.
Yeah,
his
documentary.
Netflix is sticking with him because he's such a moneymaker.
Well, they also have fucking
anyone who wasn't Dave Chappelle wouldn't have that, obviously. But it's just so funny where it's like this boogeyman, and you go, okay, but like they were protesting outside of Netflix, and a bunch of people like quit over it. And then on top of that, your boogeyman is homophobia.
Yeah.
And what's more of a boogeyman though, really? Like the people that when you said you were gay, was anyone protesting outside being like, not a gay in our town?
For sure.
Well,
and like
he made his jokes, people were protesting outside. Which one of them's more real?
Absolutely. And I mean, again, the trans stuff, it's all in relation to the fact that, we even if we try and not talk about it, it still pops up with like the fucking swimming stuff. And, it's like, it's obviously a dominant like item in culture right now.
Of course.
I mean, dude, literally just before we started this, in between the episodes, I was reading Chrissy Everett, who used to be like the #1 tennis player in the world. I didn't know this, but in the 70s or 80s, there was a trans tennis player who tried to join the tennis tour, and it was like a big court case, and they joined the tour, and she played this woman who was used to be a man, was 43 years old. She was #1 in the world, 25 years old, #1 in the world. She's like, I'm friends with this person now. And she's like, I struggled to beat this person. And this person was like, I was way out of shape, like 43 years old, way past my prime. And the #1 female tennis player in the world was like struggling to beat me. And she's like, obviously there's these huge like advantages. And then Gerard Carmichael will be the first guy to be like, yeah, there's no difference. And why is this an issue? And the fact that you're saying, why is this an issue? Chappelle goes, yeah, obviously this is an issue. Like,
right.
Stop saying, why is this an issue?
Exactly. It's like, well, because people disagree on things, and it's like but I think that they've realized, like, I think that some of these people are like struggling to where to go with their like opinions, because they have to just be like, they don't want to like argue it. So they just have to be like, it never happened. It doesn't exist. You're being crazy. And you're just like, no, it's funny. First of all, not everyone's mad. We think it's like funny.
Yeah. And like, you don't have a good framework for explaining why he's so popular talking about this. Like, why is it connecting so well and like across the board? Like, why?
In their mind,
is it because everybody also thinks this?
Everyone's a bigot. Yeah,
everybody's a bigot. Exactly.
Just because everyone's
you're like,
a bigot.
He goes, why do you want to die on this hill? You go, yeah, all his fans are wanting to die on this hill too.
Yeah, everyone. This is literally the hill.
Yeah,
where it was like, no, the sports thing's too much. Like, I shouldn't be. Yeah, like this was the predominant hill that most people were like, you know what, this will be my hill.
And this isn't like gay marriage where there's a tiny subsect of people who were opposed to this. This is the thing where you're like really provoking people's like just sense of, or just common sense, where they go, I can't even believe we're debating this.
Yeah.
And then when you want to have to, debate it, and then people are like, oh, you're wrong and you're bad. And you go like,
and then on top of that, they go, why do you always want to talk about this? And it was like, well, because it's unsettled.
Yeah, it sounds exactly.
It's not settled yet.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to be like, yeah, like can we just move on, and be like, I mean, that's up to you, it sounds like. You know what I mean?
You want to move on.
Like,
sure you do.
If you want to move on, but like, do you still get to be right and move on? It's like, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good explanation of it. But there's the other part where I guess he's sort of accusing Chappelle of being mad of like, he should have thought of gay stuff first and being gay, so he has to do this. But no, he goes, he's offering his thoughts on comedians' perceived cancel culture, and he goes, it's like, bro, who the fuck are you? Why why do you fucking care? Why do you fuck? What do you like? What do you do? Childish jokes aside, who the fuck are you? That's what he said, right? And I thought this was like an interesting thing, because it really does come down to, you're like, hey, if you're going to be a comedian, some people talk about, like the way the world works, and the way like like the way that people work to the interworkings of like social dynamics. And some people talk about, Jerry Seinfeld will talk about like
it's macro versus micro.
And he's none of them. He's himself.
Yeah.
He thinks that like, he's sort of saying like, who are you? Well, and a lot of the best comedians don't do this, but like in the artsy world, they used to be like a Trump's bad guy, and now it's all like, I'm depressed.
Yeah, it's
I have
identity.
this
It's
problem.
all like
I'm this. This is how I feel.
Yeah, it's all like the search for identity, and you are your identity, and they're all they're trying to figure it out on stage, and you go like, yeah, it's some people like that. Some people like that.
Of course,
introspective comedy, but like, I mean, probably I'd say less people like it than do like it.
Yeah, but it's a genre of comedy the same way it's a genre of music.
It's emo comedy.
Emo comedy, yeah. But it's interesting. It's like you're right, and that's what he's done. It's like he did the comedy where it's sad. It's like, yeah, I'm fine, right? But it's emo comedy.
Yeah.
It's I'm sad, I'm depressed, and here's the things that I had to go through, and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't do that. But him being like, the truth is, when you go to see like comedians, like sometimes you want to know about them, but like even the comedians that are like fairly introspective, it's like they're still usually like a lot of times introspective to say something about something else.
Yeah.
But even when they're not, like there's lots of big
Chappelle
comedians.
still had some stuff talking about going to Africa, and Richard Pryor about fucking blowing himself up.
Yeah, and Jerry
people
Seinfeld has none. Like,
and Jerry Seinfeld has none because he doesn't have these public. Like the only public thing he has is dating a 17-year-old.
Well, Dimitri Martin has none, who he'd probably like too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
But that was old artsy versus new artsy's emo.
Yeah, it is emo. It's just straight up emo.
I think we actually kind of nailed it because new artsy. It's
emo comedy, which never really existed.
It's artsy fartsy stuff, and new artsy's emo. New artsy was weird and wacky. Then artsy like all got swept up in like we don't like Trump, and then new artsy emerging post Trump is like emo, which is like Bo Burnham and like Drunk Michael. They're like emos.
Yeah, and the guy with the special that nobody
was in the audience or whatever.
Drew
Yeah, it's
Michael.
emo comedy.
Yeah, it's emo comedy.
That's what it is.
Not a lot of laughs, but it really just tugs at the heartstrings.
Tugs at the heartstrings and sort of makes you feel bad for them. And
yeah, you're like, makes you feel bad for yourself because you're like, why am I here?
Makes you
Why
feel bad for
did we buy
yourself.
tickets for this?
Yeah. Well, so there's this Reddit thread that's another one that's sort of like the antinatalist.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go through that many of them, but it was just funny. Like, kind of reminded me of that thing where it's like, I thought it was interesting in the sense that like the fact that like girls just hate not being part of the pack. So it's like, it's child-free, right? And it's girls that have child-free, but like
It's guys too, though.
Girls and guys, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's a very feminine organization.
Yeah. This is one of those things too where like, what a bizarre thing to make your identity that I just don't want kids.
It's like move to any city, no one will care.
Nobody cares, period. This is like this whole thing where people are just like think that everybody's
This
thinking
is a
about
made up
them.
boogeyman.
Then in a boogeyman, you're like, what a shitty identity to be like, my identity is I don't want kids. Just be like, okay. I mean, like
Yeah.
Ari doesn't want kids. He got a vasectomy. It's not his identity. It's like a thing he did. He goes, it's a procedure I had.
I guess
It's not who I am.
Maybe these people are like live in families where everyone has kids, and he's like, but then that's where I said it's like, okay, well, get some friends that aren't that.
But they're
you
not
know?
even antinatalists where there's like a theory behind this.
No, they
you
just
know?
hate
They're
kids.
just like I don't want to have kids.
No, they hate kids.
Or they hate, or whatever, they hate kids. But yeah, it's not like, oh, people are like scourge on the planet. They're just like, I just don't want them. I hate them.
It's very bizarre. I moved to Berlin 4 years ago, but everyone I've met either has kids or moved to another country, and all of Berlin. So she hasn't met one. I've heard that kind of stuff a lot from girls. They're like, I don't know. Everyone I met's this. And you're just like, there's 6 million people in this city. Like,
Yeah.
I thought I had a
Spread out a
super
bit.
cool friend from the UK, but today I learned she's pregnant. There goes my last child-free friend. Imagine, it's so crazy. It's like, I feel like everyone I know has kids, friends with kids, and friends without kids.
Yeah.
It should be. You should be in a like making friends forum, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
If you only want to have friends without kids, but it's like, it makes me feel broken for not having maternal instinct. My husband is super cool with our child-free life, but today he pulled back. My friend from India brought her daughter over to use the printer, but it was a constant screaming, eating candy, and running after my elderly dog. I just needed to vent because I feel broken down. She can't even have a kid in her house for like 2 seconds. I want kids like, why didn't I want kids like all my siblings and friends? I don't regret not having kids, but I feel a bit lonely. Thanks for listening. So she's having a hard time with it, right?
Yeah, kids suck.
Kids stink, but yeah, she's a mother, and she was like, or would have been a mother, and she's like, I don't want kids, but it's like, sounds to me like you did want them a little bit.
Sounds like you got that postpartum depression.
I'm glad you're my son. This one says, I'm glad you're my son. And this guy came out of the closet as a child-free to his dad. Pretty good stuff.
That's
right?
insane.
Do you think that'll be like a Gerard Carmichael special in the future where he like sits down?
Yeah.
You know, I told my dad. He sat down. I said, Pops, I'm a child-free. I'm a child-free. No, I hope you don't love me any less. And this dad said, I'm glad you're my son, Mark. And I hope that I made it clear that I'm proud of you for taking the time to think about this decision. So
It did not happen.
Told his dad he's child free, and the dad said, honestly, you're my son no matter what.
You go, even though you would not accept your own son, I accept you.
Yeah, it is funny being a child free, still needing your dad's approval, though.
Yeah, seriously. His dad's probably like, back on your bullshit, huh, Mark? All right. Nobody gives a fuck.
Dad, if he said, can we meet next Friday for dinner? I have something I need to tell you.
Oh, my God. He goes, what did you need to tell me? That you couldn't tell me on the phone. He goes, child free.
I drove to, he goes, I know. He goes, yeah, I'm probably going to still be in the future. You made me drive down for this bullshit.
You know how much fucking gas is right now, Mark?
You son of a bitch. He goes, and this one said, I found a way to never have kids and still make babies. I just started getting up an gecko breeding project. So excited to have a baby gecko soon. And so glad my consultation is tomorrow. Babies without babies. Gotta love reptiles. So if you are a child free, and I don't know if you have to come out of your parents to a closet again to your parents and tell them you're a reptile mom now too.
Yep. Reptile mom.
Also, Mom, I like reptiles. So I thought that one was pretty wacky. And your tango for the win. I was 5 months pregnant when I found out my boyfriend was gay. 5 months prego. It was an innocent venture into my iCloud feature. Showed me the websites currently open for my boyfriend's phone. Some of them dating sites, some of them porn, all of them gay.
You think he was going? You think he did Vito Spatafora? He goes, it's just a goof. It's a joke.
Hey, baby.
Baby, it's a joke. It's a goof.
It's a fucking goof.
I ain't no fag. It's a joke.
I signed up for 19 websites as a goof. My buddy Rigatoni signed up for 20. We both been goofing on each other.
This is a joke.
I'm a goof. Me and my friends are a bunch of goofballs. I'll bring one of them over. I actually have one of the goofballs under my bed right now. Look at this goofy motherfucker.
What?
Last night I found out that I was pregnant. He hadn't come home. Other few nights he'd also hadn't come home. That's pretty wild though, like being in like a relationship with a pregnant woman and you just like didn't come home at all.
Yeah, like
who do you know that could pull that off where you like, hey, I just didn't come home at all?
I mean, it's like that's stuff you did in the 80s.
Well, we'd be like, where were you?
Yeah, I don't know. I was out.
How do you...
What, do you want to get hit again? Keep asking more questions. Like.
I really don't know anyone who could just be like, I mean, I guess maybe if you're like, I work till like 6 or whatever, but like whoever can live with a girl, then be pregnant, and you just don't come home at all.
Yeah, you don't come home.
And you don't have an excuse?
Yeah, he goes, where were you? I was out. He goes, out where? He goes, I was out.
Did I stutter? I said I was out.
Yeah. Fuck, that would be the dream relationship, though. No explanation.
Yeah.
Just do what you want.
Where were you? Out. Yeah, none of your business. Who asked? What do you mean? Where was I? No. Who asked you?
Who asked you?
So that's a tough sell, not coming home at all. I joined a member of one of the dating sites to get a closer look at what I was dealing with. It was a male-to-male hookup site. His profile said, "My house, okay." She goes, "My house?" It was a cocaine to come to my house, so he's bringing the dudes.
That's a fucking nerd.
This guy is maybe the ballsiest guy I've ever seen in my life, man. Ballsiest man. So he's basically dating this girl. He's taking off for all hours of the night, comes home 2 days
5 months
later.
pregnant.
5 months pregnant, comes back 2 days later, none of your Nunya. He goes, where were you? I was at Nunya's house. What? None of your business. He's bringing guys over, banging on their bed.
That's insane.
Although
she's at her like Lamaze class with her girlfriend because he's like, oh, I can't go.
I know.
To that. And he's fucking just getting railed by dudes at home.
That thing I will say though is it's less risky to have a guy over because like anything he leaves, you just say it's yours.
That's true.
She probably wouldn't even suspect a thing. Girl over, she's gonna leave a hair tie or some bullshit.
Yeah. Plus, you could have him like dress as some sort of like a plumber.
You make him dress like a
and
plumber.
so then you go like, oh, what this? No, this guy I was fucking, he's the plumber.
He's the plumber.
Yeah, there was a clog in my butthole. He was trying to get out.
He was just trying to get a clog in my butthole out. Nothing fucking weird happening there.
Nothing weird.
This is a site I knew for a fact some of my coworkers were members of, and I began to wonder if I was the only one who didn't know. And I confronted him. He denied it all. So this guy continues to get more based.
Yep.
He denied it all. He's banging them at his place, coming off for all his night. Now his girl asks him, he goes, nah, it didn't happen. Nah, you're seeing things.
Nah, dog.
You're seeing things. You're going to be seeing stars. You keep asking. He denied it all. He still does, to an extent. I took a snapshot of a picture of his online profile and sent it to him. He's getting cold hard evidence. He's still like, it could be anyone making that photo. This guy listens to Hoodville for sure. Ways of shaggy defense. It wasn't me. Well, he denies any bisexuality and denies having met up with any men. He did admit to finding the site risky and exciting. He goes, yeah, I mean, it's exciting. Obviously, you're attending something that you never would be.
Yeah,
ever.
just doing something that generally is disgusting to you, but it's still exciting.
That's so funny.
It's like being on an episode of Fear Factor, you know?
Yeah. He's does it for the thrill.
Just in it for the thrills.
They sent me their photos of their dicks, and I go, oh,
Oh, gay. Gross.
oh,
You know.
babe, you've never done that?
Just me? Come on.
That's. Oh God, look at this! And then I show my real buddies. I go, can you believe? Oh.
Ew.
He goes and zooms in on it. Oh, let
Can you
me see a
believe
little
this
closer.
fag sent his cock to me?
Oh, come on. These gaylords. Oh my God. So yes, it's a little bit exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But I am, he goes, he admits to finding the site risky and exciting. He said simply that there was still a thrill of having an online persona that wasn't really him. And just, oh yeah, but why did it have to be a gay one?
Yeah.
Because he's a risk taker is why.
Well, that makes sense.
Because I'm a risky man.
I know I keep harping on this monkeypox thing, but like, you know how many some girls are gonna like, honey, I got like a weird
Oh no.
lesion on my arm.
Mm.
You know anything about this?
Uh-huh.
She's like, ma'am, you have monkeypox. She goes, huh.
Hmm.
Have you been in contact with any homosexual men? He goes, I don't think so.
Mm.
Then he's got like these
He's sweating. He's sweating. Well, he just did it because he's a risk taker. The risk of having his photo. If you are in a relationship and you got your photo up on a fucking pickup site.
on a gay pickup site.
Balls. I mean, I think the gay pickup site's less risky.
I guess because less likely that anybody will find you.
And yeah, message your girl. They're not fucking snitches on those gay sites.
Oh yeah,
Those gay guys aren't a fucking message your wife. You know what I mean? What do they care?
that's true.
The day before I had the baby, I found he had another active profile on the same dating site. So he set up a new one the day they were having the baby. I found him on months earlier. This time he'd left the browser up on the iPad. I left the house and sent him berating texts. But went on and on and on. But the balls on this guy.
But she's kind of sympathetic because for him a bit too, because she's like, it must be so tough being.
She has to be that, yeah.
On this website, anyways. I'm sure there's a lot of
On your
like,
Tango.
it's fucking threw his gay cheating ass out, and
This motherfucker's gay ass fucking motherfucker be sucking dick on my couch.
But she's all woke, so she's like, I had to put myself in his shoes.
It really
How
is the best way
hard
to
it
come
must-
out of the closet right now. If you're trying to get out of a relationship and you can deal with the social ramifications, the I'm gay is pretty good.
Yeah.
Gotta tell you, I'm gay.
It is funny that
gay, yeah.
there's guys who would be like, you know what? That seems like maybe the best option for instead of just breaking up with her.
I'm a gay. Yo,
So
breaking
just
up with girls is impossible.
Oh, the worst. But there's guys who are legitimately like, damn, I never thought of just being gay.
Yeah, you just actually do go through with it, bang a couple dudes.
There's
get the
guys who are
club.
legitimately like, yeah, I will have a guy fuck me on film if that gets me out of this relationship.
I can't. Yeah, there's no other way for me to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
how.
Or we're together for the next 50 years.
I find most guys think they have a hard time getting out of girlfriends. I always find it funny when like you have a friend that's like been in one for a while and he'll be like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna break up with her today," and I go, "Oh, no, you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not breaking up with anyone.
You ain't breaking up with shit.
Oh yeah, you're better than all of us. Eh? You're the one guy getting out. Get the fuck out of here."
No.
It's only easy to break up if you're a guy that girls don't like that much. If you're like,
Yeah, I mean, some guys I think are good.
you have to be really crappy for a long time.
Sometimes I see like, yeah, but sometimes I'll see like, a TV show or a movie where a guy like breaks up with it, and I go, I mean, that's an interesting tactic. I could never
Like
do
what?
It. Like just they straight up being like, I'm leaving you.
I'm leaving you. I'm unattracted to you.
I was
I'm
like,
in love with somebody
like I was
else.
watching fucking Sopranos, the end of Sopranos season 6, and the girl breaks up. The girl does it to the guy, but she breaks up with.
That's way more normal.
Yeah, but she brings him his bag, and she's like, I'm not in love with you. I'm leaving you. And he goes, what? So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not doing that.
Girls don't feel as bad doing it to guys.
I don't know if they don't feel as bad. I think they're just better at doing it. I mean, probably that is the move to do. I don't know.
No, because guys are
Couldn't do
looking
it.
out for the girl.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? They're looking out for the girl more. Well, there's another. It's a very LGBT heavy episode this week, but why?
Because all the Canada talk. Good.
I guess because of Pride and stuff. There a lot of articles were coming out.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why. But it was like, it's so funny because CNBC did this article. I can't win in this market. Why LGBTQ home buyers say mortgage rates are hitting them especially hard.
Yeah.
And then they just go through why
That legit one is gonna be like every month they just change from gay to whatever it is that month on CNBC.
Yeah, it was such a crazy article.
That one is
right?
really crazy. CNBC has gone super woke though. It's like watching it from like 10 years ago, dude. It used to straight up be
a business website.
No, it's a finance like channel, but it used to be straight up like only white guys. Like
Right.
It was like a caricature of itself, where it was like only white guys, maybe like an Asian chick, and then now they've made such a concerted effort, so it's like you rarely see white guys. Like they've gone like full the opposite side. Like unless there's like the white guys who like Kramer who have been there forever, but like anybody new is like never a white guy.
Interesting, yeah.
like, ever.
But it is just like, this one was such a stretch, and their whole pitch was that I saw this. This is what they always do. It's that old. They have some stats where they're like LGBTQ people by percentage own less houses, which out of the gate you're just like, okay, give us ages. And
Yeah.
it was like, yes, because most of 90% of the LGBTQ people are fucking 20. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like so obvious for starters, right? So it's like their whole thing is, I was reading, someone was telling me a stat the other day where they're just like, women and men money. And it was like, if a guy's this height, versus this thing or this job, she needs to make 80%, 80 grand more a year to get the same money and wealth. And it was like, no stats on like women's decision making based on wealth means anything until you break it up by like age bracket.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, that means nothing because it doesn't represent anything. Because it's like, the truth is how much a 20-year-old cares about how much money you make versus how much a 40-year-old cares about how much money you make is like astronomically different for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, they'll always do that too with comparisons to like, baby boomers, they have way more money than young people. And you're like, yeah, they've been working for 40 years. I don't know. Yeah, obviously.
No, but they have more money
Relatively, but they won't even say relatively. They'll say in like just absolute terms. Like this
in
nonsense.
absolute
And you're
terms,
just
yeah. Yeah, I go, if you're about to retire, yeah, hopefully if you have any retirement savings, you have more than a 20-year-old.
Hopefully, yeah.
But this one, it was just making me laugh. They're like, according to Williams Institute of the UCLA school, 50% of LGBTQ adults and 64% of LGBTQ couples own their own homes, compared to 70 and 75%. And it was like, one, they all probably live in cities, whereas like, you know what I mean? Yes, LGBTQ people all live in cities where it's like very hard to buy property.
Yep.
It was like, they're just so, it's like, the amount that they have to go through hoops to make their
And they also
articles.
live in like San Francisco and
They live
like
in
the most expensive.
Yeah, they live in
places.
San Francisco and New York as opposed to the middle of fucking Delaware.
Yeah. They're not living in Kansas.
And you go, huh? Well, I wonder why that is. Maybe for one, they live on the Upper West Side or in the West Village, which like you need to be a literal multi-billionaire to buy a house. Whereas if you live in suburbs of Buffalo,
Yeah, it's a little more affordable and less gay. But to say interest rates are affecting gay people is insane.
more.
It's crazy.
Oh, it's bonkers.
Yeah, I don't think interest rates know people's sexuality.
Well, it's affecting gay people because they need to buy houses more. But it's like, well, it's actually affecting them less because those stats will continue and they'll still buy houses less.
But is there even
so it's
a
like
thing?
gay? You could also make the argument that like gay people are less likely to buy houses, and this is why they'll be affected less by interest rates.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know there's a thing where people say, oh, like black people, like, you know, are less likely to get a loan or whatever the fuck, like, because, but like, I don't know, has that ever been proposed
No.
for gay people? We go, oh, I was too
No.
gay at the bank, and
They just rigged up some stats. Didn't know. It's kind of like, you know, all the thing with the wage gap. It was always that, right? Where they're just like, we did on average, and it was like, well, did you do any looking into the fact that, you know, the hours worked or
Yeah, like the
ages
why.
or they always say that one immigrant group versus another immigrant group, and they fail to mention that one immigrant group's 20 years older on
Yeah.
average. That's a huge one that they do, right? They'll be like, this group is more rich on average and makes more, and you're like, yeah, and they're also older by 20 years.
yeah.
So
This article was straight up CNBC was like, hey, we need some pride stuff.
but it just makes me laugh, the like pitch on that. So he goes, and then they do an article. They do the thing that Toronto Star used to always do, where then they just pick a guy and he tells like his story about his life being hard. He was like, for example, this guy, he
Yeah, just like a super
works in
anecdotal
marketing
evidence.
and he wants to buy a house, but he went to look at a house and it was $2 million and he's not going to be able to buy that one. Hard to be gay. Like the moral, like none of their stuff like makes any sense.
None.
So they go, this guy, he goes, he's a gay man living in Los Angeles area. So as we predicted, major city that's expensive. He spent much of his adult life commuting several hours a day to his job in the NASA jet popular. So he works at NASA. So this guy's doing okay. In Pasadena, he would commute, and it was like, yeah, that's everywhere. Most people in like Los Angeles commute. When he found an apartment closer to work, he noticed a major improvement in his life.
Yeah.
So-
Like everybody else, gay or non-gay. Generally, when you find you reduce your commute, that makes you happier. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're
It's a
like
gay thing.
in the fucking wacky article. I don't know why this one was like fucking doing it for me. You're just like, it's like such a character of an article. It's like, gay people like can't buy houses. Why? And it was like, well, it's probably because of homophobia. And it was like nothing to do with the fact that they're younger and live in cities. And then they're just like, look at this guy. He worked at NASA and he had to commute there because it was in Pasadena. And then he found a place in Pasadena and it's been better for him.
Yeah, I would like them to
With
be
his
like.
NASA
It would be funny
salary.
if they're like, gay people can't buy houses because they're spending all their money on poppers.
Well, they would probably say that. Plus, gay people have more expenses that you don't have, like the poppers.
Poppers and jock straps and all that
Jock
stuff.
straps. The commute was tearing me apart, mentally and physically. I saw it was deteriorating, said Murad. So this guy's lucky he doesn't have to do the commute anymore. However, his roommates moved out, and he decided it was time to become a homeowner. So at 40, he thought, maybe I'm going to buy a place. He originally wanted to live 5 miles of work, but quickly found that might not be realistic. So this guy's having sort of a tough go right now.
Yeah, because he's gay.
because he's gay. And it was like, all right. Like, what about, like, I can picture 10 trillion families that, like, want to buy a place near their work, but, like,
Yeah,
they work
everybody.
on Bay Street. So,
I mean-
unfortunately, like, I don't make $8 million a year.
Yeah, it's a
He works
Decision
in the
that
financial,
everybody has
He
to
works in
deal
the
with.
financial district, but he wasn't able to live there because he's not Donald.
like. Do you think every person lives in their first choice?
Well, they should if they're gay.
It's called everybody makes compromises.
Well, they should if they're gay, is the moral of the story. The commute just tore me apart. And they said, the rapid rise of cost of home is particularly impactful for LGBTQ. But like she just shows you with this guy who just wants to buy a house but has to buy one farther from his NASA job. So I think, do you think that evidence really supported the claim? So they're done, which is less likely to own a home. First-time home buyers have to pay higher prices without getting a boost from the value selling an existing property. So yeah, I mean, but none of this has anything to do with it.
Nothing to do with the fact that they're gay.
That's why I love this article.
Yeah, I know.
But it also made me, I was just loving the idea that on top of the fact that they make all this stuff and none of it has to do with being gay, also they're just like, so this, it's really hard to buy houses right now for gay people. This guy, he used to live pretty far, and then he wanted to move closer, but it was too expensive, so he had to move like 10 minutes closer instead of 5 minutes closer. So I think we made our point. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Even still, it says 64% of LGBT couples own their homes versus 75% of non. You're like, that's not that big of a difference.
No, it's the opposite. It's gay people have more money because they generally don't have kids. So it's like, if you actually take like all of the things, like age bracket and move the thing, it's like most gay people are like 2 fucking incomes or like,
Yeah, and no kids.
No kids. So it's like on average, gay people actually have more disposable income. That's like a known fact.
Yep.
So pretty funny.
But all the poppers they got to buy.
But the poppers. Yeah, so that not only are they like not like correct in their analysis, they're actually particularly wrong in their analysis.
Yep.
Well, vaccines for 5-year-olds are coming out. What do you think of that? Here's when COVID-19 vaccine appointments will be available en masse for kids under 5. We know parents and families have been waiting for this.
I mean, some have.
Definitely that guy's friends and family have been waiting for this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people have been waiting for it.
Well, there's all these weird COVID things coming out. I don't really know what's actually going on, but they go, scientists studying the temperature at which humans spontaneously dying with increasing urgency. Like, have you seen a lot of stuff that?
Yeah.
And they go, there's this.
The temperatures are.
Yeah, like
it's a climate angle.
Everything that people were saying was because of the vaccine. They're saying all of it's like caused by the climate.
I mean, I fucking hate the climate.
The climate's fucked.
Stinks.
Dude. Spontaneously dying though. This is what Vice says. Does that sound like it makes sense?
I mean, it's Vice, so maybe take that with a grain of salt.
Do you think it's vaccine related?
That people are spontaneously dying?
Uh-huh.
No, I think it's the climate. No. I mean, define what spontaneously dying even mean.
Exactly. They said wet bulb conditions are when heat and humidity can otherwise cause healthy humans to overheat and die. They're happening more often than ever. The conditions are actually hard to imagine. When bulb conditions occur when relative humidity is above 95% and temperature is at least 88 degrees Fahrenheit. According to the study, the human body is essentially unable to withstand wet bulb conditions at all. And as temperatures hit 95 degrees under these conditions, it's possible for otherwise healthy people to just die.
Yeah. I mean, obviously heat kills people. That's a pretty common thing whenever there's a heat wave. And then every city's like, yeah, all these old people keep dying. Because it's, heat will kill you. I'm sure it doesn't help.
Well, I can feel old people getting it.
Yeah, but they're not saying the ages. Like, is there really a thing where fucking 20-year-olds are just dropping dead because it got a little hot?
That was one. Yes, they were doing. There was this going around Twitter where they're just like normal 20-year-olds dropping dead, and then everyone was saying it's because of the vaccine stuff, and other people were like, no, it's because of the climate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, one last thing. 5 women on the worst dating advice that they've been given, and all of it's like pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
This is from Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. A single woman's greatest fear. Unsolicited dating advice.
Yep.
Sarah, you should consider losing weight.
Honestly, great dating advice, man or woman.
Most reasonable dating advice.
Honestly, if you're having trouble finding a man or a woman,
this is the worst dating advice she's ever gotten. Lose a couple. Worst dating advice she's ever gotten. After breaking up with my boyfriend, my grandma told me that if I wanted to find some good contenders, I should consider losing some weight, and the men will come. I was a bit taken back, but I didn't really say anything. And she followed up by telling me men are attracted to women who look like they take care of themselves.
What the fuck are you saying, Grandma? You fucking piece of shit. You old fucking piece of shit, Grandma.
What the fuck did you say, you old bat?
You fucking dinosaur bitch.
And therefore, I will be able to look after them. I'm really hoping this is a generational thing. It is not. So it is.
Well, thankfully, if you fight this for long enough, then you won't reproduce. So there won't be a further generation of your.
So this girl had to deal with her bigot ass grandma telling her that some bizarre,
just rude, Grandma.
Just rude that in some bizarro world that some people care about fucking you being fit. So I don't know what planet Grandma's on. She should go back to it. I don't know what planet Grandma's from, but they should put her in a spaceship and send her back to it. Maddie says, someone told me to play hard to get. I was at dinner with a few friends and I was telling them about my dating life and joking how whenever I begin to get feelings, the person I was dating would break it off straight away. One of my friends, who's basically in a relationship her whole life, said, have you tried playing hard to get? Guys don't like it when you make it too easy for them. I laughed thinking it was a joke, but she was dead serious and my other two friends were nodding along. So yeah, if you're first date and you give everyone, tell them about all the feelings, that for me, I won't always block them off, but I usually block them off for like dating. A lot of times if a girl goes too strong too early, I'm like, oh
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
mean,
take
ask
a pause
girls.
on this one.
Yeah, ask girls. Yo, how do you feel about a guy doing that?
Exactly.
They'll be like, disgusting. And like, yeah, no chance.
Unless he's rich and like fucking
Sure, but even still,
You have to just know that
even
they-
still, like if a guy's like just so
love bombing, they call it.
yeah, like from the get go, you're like, yeah,
love you.
most girls are like, that's too
I
much
love you,
too.
I love you, I love you, love you. These words are my own.
That was like on the what was it, the Love on the Spectrum, on the first date, and this girl goes, "I think I love you." And
Really?
She says it to the guy, and he's like,
The other
Yeah.
autistic guy didn't like it.
"Well, he's autistic, so he doesn't really handle that like affection stuff."
What did he
displays.
say?
He had to get up and walk away. And she's actually like not that bad looking. She's like autistic, but she's like weird in the like comic books. She's probably the hottest one on the show. And then for the chicks, and then he came back, and then they kind of went on a date, and they had a good time, and then she broke up with him because he didn't have his career in going, and he was all up. He's like, "You strung me along." She kind of being a bit of a bitch.
Well, it worked for that girl. Love of the Spectrum show.
Yeah.
Do any of them talk weird?
It's weird. Some of them do. Like there's one where like there's because at first it starts and you go like all the dudes are like insane, not insane, but they're like really autistic, and then the girls are like kind of like attractive and normal. Like some of them you wouldn't even tell. You go like, yeah, I've dated girls who this is autism. Like they're just
Yeah.
like weird. I guess
They're calling anything autism these
yeah,
days.
but then there's one where you go like one girl was like, I'm like, I think this girl has Down syndrome. Like legitimately, there's one of the girls on the
That's
one
a
where you
little
go
different
where I
than
think she has
autistic.
Down syndrome, and then but she goes on a date with this guy, and then
Down
they end up
syndrome.
like not hooking up because I don't know if, but like she lives with her mom and they're not legally
proper handy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's the whole thing is weird, but I guess they find love too. But like, can they live on their own? But the dude, he is like super autistic, but then I think he's like a computer programmer. So I think he actually has like a really good job. He's just
figured out.
well, he makes money, but he's like, but she's legitimately. There's a really funny scene. Like a line in it where she goes like they're talking about like musicals or whatever, and then she goes, yeah, I like this one Hathaway. She says that she goes Hathaway, and then he goes Hathaway. It goes, oh, Hairspray. I don't know, but he says it back. He goes, oh, Hathaway. Oh, Hairspray. Oh yeah.
You're liking it though, eh?
Yeah.
Another one, Jess says someone told her to lower her standards. Which, I don't know if they know who fucking Jess we're talking to, but she deserves everything she can get.
Yeah, she deserves the moon.
Jess deserves the moon. I haven't even met her yet, but I already know that she deserves more. than
Yeah,
what she's
or
getting.
she can not lower her standards and die alone. That's fine.
I was in an emotionally toxic relationship with someone for 6 months, and I was talking to my mom about how I was thinking about breaking up with them. She turned around and said, everyone lies to their partner. I think you're expecting too much from them. Based mom.
Based mom.
So I actually was different than what I thought. I couldn't believe what she said to me. I broke up with him a few weeks later, but only told my mom a few months after, and she was very disappointed. So her lower the standards, she was saying they told her to lower the standards in the relationship.
Yeah.
She was going to break up with this guy for lying. I mean, that one's just
I mean, it depends on what he's lying.
yeah,
about.
it's a little, that one's not as
But generally,
funny
if you're
one way or
having
the
a
other.
problem with a relationship or like meeting someone, yeah, lowering your standards is oftentimes.
obviously some reasonable advice if
Yeah.
you think that I've never not one of the single girls that I've matched with that I like matched with, you go, got news for you, pal.
Yeah, exactly. You go, I never match with anybody. You go, it's your standards are too high. It's obvious.
Nat, give him a chance. I hate it when people tell me to give him a chance. I get it pretty much from everyone I talk to about my dating life. I feel like if you don't like someone, then just don't like them. And you shouldn't need to keep pushing something that isn't there. If you're walking together on a footpath, check to see if he moves and walk between you and the road. If he doesn't, then dump him. So that was another bad one. So those are two that I had separate. But the first one is that that give him a chance.
Yeah. The dump him one for walking between the road. That's a ridiculous reason to dump a guy.
I know.
Yo, I noticed that when we were walking down the sidewalk, I was on the road side of it. And he's like, what? She goes, I was on the road side of it. I guess the idea there is that what? If a car comes, like he'll just get hit and she won't?
Uh-huh.
But realistically, both of you will just get hit.
Uh-huh.
He just might die quicker.
I know. And also it's just like, that is the biggest one where it's like, are you feminist or not feminist? But I don't really do much of that stuff.
But that's just
only thing I
irrational
do
chivalry, because just the assumption goes like that you think that the outcome will be better because he was on this side, and you're like,
well, I guess if a truck's coming by and sort of just like
I guess clips you, but you're like, he's not walking on the curb. You're still just on the sidewalk.
If I see a truck coming to get clipped, I'm pushing you in front of it. Let alone, what do you think we're talking about? Lady, you getting pushed.
You been pushed.
Girl, you pushed. Anyways, well, that's that. That is that.
That's been that.
That's been that.
That's been that.
There's that, and when you that you know that one?
No.
No, it was a mix of a few different songs.
That's why I didn't know it.
That was making me laugh. The idea of doing maybe cutting together the intro song with half of each, like splicing it together and be like, "Yeah, happy."
You should definitely do that.
I was thinking about doing
That's a fucking good, just for one episode.
Yeah, I was gonna do it for like next week and just be like, "You happy, you fucking idiot."
Yeah, and then the other half is the outro. The other two halves is the outro. We go, everybody wins, don't they? Huh?
Yeah, everybody wins. Exactly. So that's what I was thinking about doing. We might see. Anyways, I'm a little sick, so we don't know if I can get to it, but I might. All right, peace.
Later.
BOYSCAST. The boys, the fellas, the lads, the bros, the dudes, the homies, the mates, the blokes. The boys cast is the show. The dogs, the bunts, the bruvs, amigos.